With the Katie Vick bomb dropped by Triple H as a cliffhanger ending in the final minute of the broadcast last Monday, Raw set up the follow-up from the start, with the company hoping that the more storyline-based soap opera direction will spike back interest into Raw, similarly to the Billy and Chuck stunt did for SmackDown last month. With Raw expecting a hot atmosphere coming from the Bell Center in Montreal, saw the headlines coming from the building already hours before the show went on the air, with a Vince McMahon talent meeting originally scheduled to take place in the afternoon to address the current state of the business, creating a buzz among the talent in the locker room before being notified that the meeting will be delayed to next Monday due to the pre-show production meeting going longer than expected, kicking off the Montreal Raw with a tag titles match of the new Jericho and Christian Canadian group challenging Kane and Hurricane for the tag belts. Going 7 minutes to open strong, perhaps with the combination of the match and intrigue of the Kane cliffhanger from last Monday, with the highest rated first quarter since August 26 and the highest viewership since September 2, ending up with a title change of Jericho and Christian going over to set up the Booker and Goldust tag titles match for Sunday's pay-per-view, with Jericho after recently signing a new 3-year deal with him generally more outspoken publicly after establishing himself in the company and committing to a new long-term contract, again making headlines by publicly criticizing the company's creative decisions with no regards to the political games behind the scenes, saying that the Hunter-Katie Vick promo to close last Monday's Raw was a bad ending to the show after the TLC spectacle, with the comments coming weeks after also shooting on the decision to hand Hunter the world title, bringing up the legit heat between them still going now for the past 3 years, with Jericho while putting over the TLC match saying that it was one of the most amazing things he was ever involved in his career, also noting that he didn't want to be moved from SmackDown to Raw as he felt they have a better product and talent crew to work with, but had to follow the decision from Vince McMahon with hopes that the Raw brand can find its niche in the near future. With the interview done yesterday in the New York area coming hours before a SmackDown house show in Calgary, which saw Jericho working a rare SmackDown show with the company sending out the Canadian talent to work the tour in their country, headlining in a first-time ever Jericho vs. Lesnar match on Sunday night on a show also featuring the one-night reunion of Edge and Christian against the Guerreros as the top 2 matches of the night, with Raw next airing a highlight video package from the TLC headliner, which delivered not only in the ring to Spike Big to the most watched segment on Raw in over a month, putting over the match as one of the most memorable in show history, followed by Bischoff setting up the top match for the night with Triple H vs. Van Dam in a lumberjack match in the main event. With the company bringing Raw back to Montreal for the first time since one of the most memorable shows in company history on the day after WrestleMania 18, the trajectory of the product since that show to tonight in comparison to March reflected not only in the decline in business but in the crowd reaction, with the Montreal crowd attending the broadcast on the night not close to resemble one of the hottest atmospheres in wrestling TV history created in the same building on March 18. Giving another signal to the new reality of the product in the brand extension era compared to the peak period, despite it being only a 6-month difference, with Raw's most talked about segment and a follow-up promo hyped throughout the week, seeing Kane coming out for the Katie Vick accusation explanation, telling the story of them being involved in a car accident before being confronted by Hunter, seeing the outlandish storyline taking an unexpected darker turn, with Hunter revealing more disturbing details from the police report on the night of the accident, with the company going a step further into the shock value storylines with both title matches of Kane vs. Hunter and Taker vs. Brock built on outside personal stories with secondary focus on the titles, with the Kane Confessions segment placed in the 9:45 to 10 p.m. quarter gaining to both an hour and overall show high 4.1 rating with over 5 million viewers. With the Kane segment taking place earlier than expected in the previous quarter, Raw crossed over the top of the hour with a women's tag match getting the second highest profile time slot of the night, maintaining the peak 4.1 rating with a slight 30,000 viewers increase to see Trish and Jackie against Molly and Victoria going 4 minutes, setting up perhaps the most hyped women's wrestling match in years on Sunday with Trish vs Victoria after the past several weeks of stronger than usual brawls building anticipation to deliver a strong performance on the pay-per-view, and with the company losing another 2 full-time performers from the active roster for long-term injuries with Bob Holly and Randy Orton both undergoing neck and shoulder surgeries on Thursday to put them on the sidelines for the foreseeable future. While Raw was airing from Montreal, the SmackDown house show taking place simultaneously from London, Ontario saw another name joining the unwanted list with Billy Gunn while working a tag match with Palumbo against the Guerreros, suffering a major shoulder injury which JR reported as one of the most disturbing dislocations he can remember to take Gunn out of the ring for over 6 months, with the Bell Center coming alive with Patterson making a surprise appearance in front of his hometown crowd in Montreal to bump up the building with an ovation that for the first time on the night resembled the mega-hot crowd in March, with Bischoff bringing out Patterson as the first Intercontinental Champion in company history to air a special tribute video package on all the major holders of the title throughout the years, with the belt in a major decision from the company set to be written off the television product for the first time in 23 years in the Triple H vs Kane winner-take-all unification match on Sunday, setting up the heat angle with Eric bringing out Rosie and Jamal to take out Patterson to add another injury to the recent growing list, with Patterson dislocating his shoulder in the brawl to start a 6-week rehab the next day. Raw's second hour started what was now established as the usual pattern, with the second hour slide from the 10:15 p.m. quarter seeing the show dropping over 500,000 viewers in the next 30 minutes, while still on the back of the 2 quarters at the top of both hours increasing from the first to average nearly 4.8 million viewers, and like with every show in Montreal and the Canadian market in general since November 1997, bringing up the usual Bret Hart chants and references. One of the biggest crowd reactions of the night took place off-screen with the company in a promo for the new WWE Anthology music CD coming out next month, using Bret Hart's entrance music with a video of him on the big screen to see the Bell Center erupting for the tease of a Bret comeback, followed by Jim Ross, who earlier in the show took a shot at the Canadian crowd for the constant "you screwed Bret" chants at various people all over the country, introducing Randy Orton 4 days after shoulder surgery to see Orton after a subtle turn over the last month, officially turning heel by taking a shot at Bret to major heat from the crowd, saying that Montreal is known as the place that Bret Hart got screwed, but unlike Bret he is gonna be back in the near future. With Raw crossing over to the final quarter with a Booker vs Big Show Falls Count Anywhere match going 5 minutes all over the backstage area, with Big Show going over in the bathrooms after Jericho's interference. Raw shot the final angle of the night just before the main event, with Triple H and Ric Flair blocking the babyface lumberjack locker room door to set up Van Dam being outnumbered by most of the heels on the Raw roster during the match, with the show overall on the night maintaining the increase of the previous Monday to draw its second straight 3.8 rating, but with a higher viewership of over 4.7 million viewers, perhaps giving Vince McMahon more motivation to push the product to the wild storyline-driven direction of the past week in another attempt to pick up interest against the heavy sports competition. coming, with Raw's fall from the peak continuing to be covered in major publications including TV Guide and the latest issue during the week, noting the company's viewership decline in the young male demographics it used to dominate in the golden age as the hottest show on cable television by unprecedented margins not seen before or after, with Vince McMahon himself being highlighted in another high-profile publication on Monday with Entertainment Weekly in a sign of the times and a massive contrast to the last time he was heavily featured, with a cover story of Rock and McMahon listing the WWF as one of the biggest powerhouses in entertainment in December 1999. Being listed off the magazine's 100 Most Powerful People list for the first time in years, with the reasoning of them noting that he was forced to change the company name along with losing his biggest star in Rock to Hollywood and having a public dispute that led to him losing his other top guy in Austin, in addition to the numbers decline across the board, hoping to reverse the trend with the Shaw TV direction along with an influx of major star power back to WrestleMania season in early 2003. With Van Dam vs Triple H going 11 minutes in the main event and to the 9-minute overrun to pick up the show 500,000 viewers back for the third 4.1 rating of the night, closing the build-up to the No Mercy pay-per-view on Raw, with Kane returning to the building to clear the ring in the final build to the World vs. IC title unification match in 6 days.